Welcome, my friends, to a place where we share inspiration and positivity. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're thrilled to have you here as we tackle Iloilo Mission Hospital. The Iloilo Mission Hospital, also known as Central Philippine University Iloilo Mission Hospital, Iloilo Mission Hospital, or IMH, is a private tertiary, academic, and teaching hospital in Jaro, Iloilo City, Philippines. Established in 1901 by American missionary Dr. Joseph Andrew Hall, it is the oldest American and Protestant-founded hospital in the country. In 1905, it was named Sabine Haines Memorial Union Mission Hospital through a grant from Charles Haines. It became the first hospital for soldiers and constabulary during the American regime and later changed its name to Union Mission Hospital in 1907 when the Baptists joined the Presbyterians in administering the hospital. It was ceded to the American Baptist Foreign Mission Society in 1925 and moved to its present site in the City of Jaro in 1931, becoming the Iloilo Mission Hospital in 1932. The hospital pioneered nursing education in the Philippines by establishing the Union Mission Hospital Training School for Nurses in 1906, which later became part of Central Philippine University and is now known as the Central Philippine University College of Nursing. The nursing school achieved significant milestones, including producing the first nursing graduates, the top-ranking nursing board exam taker, and the first top-performing school in the history of nursing in the Philippines. While operating as the University Hospital of Central Philippine University, the Iloilo Mission Hospital is independent from it and is administered by a separate board. It is a Level II accredited and licensed tertiary private hospital, providing services to the community and serving as a teaching and training facility for Central Philippine University in various medical fields and healthcare programs. Iloilo Mission Hospital predates CPU's founding, founded in 1905 by 4 years. In 2001, the hospital celebrated its centennial and marked its contribution to Philippine and American colonial history, especially in pioneering nursing education. As part of the centennial commemoration, the IMH Centennial Building was constructed, and the hospital acquired the first Philips CT scan machine in Southeast Asia. In May 2019, the hospital acquired the first Siemens Healthineers ACUSONSEQUOIA ultra-premium ultrasound machine in the Philippines and Southeast Asia. Iloilo Mission Hospital is accredited for residency training programs in internal medicine, pediatrics, obstetrics and gynecology, family medicine, and surgery. While originally founded by the Presbyterians, it is currently affiliated with the Convention of Philippine Baptist Churches but maintains its independence. In the upcoming portion, we'll be dissecting arrival of Protestantism and founding of the hospital 1900-1909 to gain a comprehensive understanding of its implications. Arrival of Protestantism and founding of the hospital 1900-1909. When the Philippines was ceded by Spain in 1898 to the United States through the Treaty of Paris 1898, the country was opened to a new faith brought by the Americans, the Protestantism. One of the early Protestant sects that came to the Philippines Islands were the Presbyterians. That time when the Presbyterian Americans came to the Philippines, they were allowed to go in different places in the islands to do their mission works, and Iloilo became the very first place where they set foot because of its prominence as the second next important city after Manila in the socio-economic sector due to the sugar industry boom when its port was opened to the international trade and commerce. On February 13, 1900, the Philippine Islands opened up to the American Protestant missions. Joseph Andrew Hall, an American missionary doctor with his wife Jean Russell Hall, who are working under auspices of the Presbyterian Church in the United States, see the need of opening a mission hospital in Iloilo. Thus, in 1901, they erected a temporary 8-bed nipa and bamboo structure clinic at Cale Amparo, now Ledesma Street. The clinic dispensary hospital served as a venue for the treatment of health care to the very poor in the surrounding community under the help of the Presbyterian Foreign Mission Board in the United States. During the same year, a chapel was also built through the benevolent funds from the Church of Yonkers in the United States from near the hospital and was named after Dr. George Pentecost, a donating clergyman of the said church. In 1906, due to the growing demand of hospital space for the expanding healthcare needs of the community, the Halls purchased a lot on Isnot Street in Iloilo City, the present-day Young Men's Christian Association YMCA Iloilo, near the Casa Real de Iloilo Royal House of Iloilo, the old Iloilo provincial capital. They built a 25-bed hospital made of bamboo and wood with the help of carpenters and an American ex-soldier, Mr. Renfrew. With the hospital's expansion there came the need for a training program for nurses. The search for young Filipino girls to train as nurses was difficult, considering that many never heard the word nurse before, nor seen one at work. Finally, through their church connections, Reverend Paulino Solart, a Presbyterian pastor, helped to recruit 2 of his sisters to undergo the training for 2 months. Jean Russell Hall, who was not a nurse, commenced the task of teaching the girls the basics of reading and writing English as well as arithmetic, while Dr. Joseph A. Hall taught them to understand common medical terms, to identify surgical instruments, to make medical supplies, and to take the patient's vital signs such as temperature, pulse, and respiration. Classes were held every afternoon at the house of the Halls. Unfortunately, the Solart sisters got disheartened by the conduct of the patients, who treated them rudely in demeaning ways as if they were housemaids. They decided to leave the training program. This unfortunate turn of events would have discouraged others with less determination, but not the Halls. They continued the difficult task of searching for young Filipino women to be trained as nurses, with only willingness to work as the entrance requirement. At long last, 2 young sisters from Leon, Iloilo, Dorisha Caldito, Basilio Caldito, who were laundry staff for the Union Mission Hospital, agreed to help the American missionary nurse, Elizabeth Brinton, who arrived on June 3, 1906. Miss Brinton was assigned to take charge of the nursing service as well as the training program for nurses. Thereafter 2 more young women agreed to join the nursing training program. They were Nike Shakoda from Oton, Iloilo, and Felipe de la Pena from Hippodromo, Iloilo City. Felipe's mother, Petra de la Pena, was a very sick patient of Dr. Joseph Andrew Hall. After her recovery, she persuaded her daughter to join the training, and so Felipe stayed on. These 4 young women, who were just beginning to learn to read and write, comprised the first group of nursing students who started their training in 1906 and finished in 1909. During the training, the girls were made to wear a red calico uniform, with full sleeves gathered to a band just above the elbow and a white cap to keep their hair in place. Brace yourself for a captivating discussion on establishment of the training school for nurses as we explore its nuances and implications. In June 1906, Dr. Joseph Andrew Hall officially opened the Union Mission Hospital Training School for Nurses, the first school of nursing in the Philippines. Jean R. Hall was a valuable helpmate to Dr. Hall. She helped in the training of the young trainees, in addition to her other duties in the hospital. Shortly after the opening of the training school, however, there were difficulties in the organizational setup of the newly opened hospital and school because of the scheduled furlough of the Halls. Fortunately, Dr. Hall's resourcefulness paved the way for a solution to the problem. He requested the Foreign Mission Society to send a reliever. Another missionary doctor, Dr. Mackle, who was scheduled to go to China, took over temporarily. When he left, Dr. Creel, from the government quarantine office, took over briefly. Shortly, Dr. Raphael Celsius, Thomas of the American Baptist Foreign Mission Society ABFMS, willingly accepted to fill in for Dr. Joseph A. Hall until his return from furlough. Dr. Hall also arranged to get help in the person of Miss Amelia Klein, an American government nurse stationed in Manila, who came on for salary for 6 months to help Miss Brinton with the nursing service and training program. Since the hospital's founding in 1901, It is noted that the Protestant Presbyterian and the Protestant Baptist missionaries were very supportive of the medical work of the Union Mission Hospital and its training school for nurses, Union Mission Hospital Training School for Nurses. Both mission agencies saw the need for a united effort in order to give good quality services to the region, and so in 1907 the Presbyterian Mission and the American Baptist Mission officially decided to unite, with the Union Mission Hospital as the center for their medical work in the Visayas region. Unexpectedly, Basilia Caldito dropped out of the training program, leaving 3 students, Dorisha Caldito, Nikesha Cotta and Felipe de Lopierre, to finish the course. During the training of the 3 remaining young women, enrichment of their learning experiences was generously supplied by American educators who were assigned as supervising teachers in Iloilo. The first was Mr. George Swank, a Harvard University graduate who taught the nursing students English in night classes with 2 lessons in a week for over 2 years. When he returned home to the United States, another English teacher, Richard Bow, took over and taught them for another year. Mr. Bow became impressive with the young 3 women to learn fast and speak fluently. Follow-up classes were also conducted by Miss Brinton. She taught the said 3 remaining students addition, multiplication and division to enable them to get the right proportion of the drugs prescribed by the physicians. Though a busy one in her work in the hospital and the training school for nurses, Miss Brinton married businessman John Broadman, an American businessman in Iloilo, in latter part of 1907. She served the training school for nurses as a principal from June 1906 to 1907. After she got married, she returned to the United States with her husband. In latter part of 1907, Christine Benedict took over as the second superintendent of nurses at Union Mission Hospital and as principal of Union Mission Hospital Training School for Nurses. The training of the 3 nurses continued under the able guidance of Miss Benedict with the assistance of Amelia Klein, who, after her 6 months' work earlier with Miss Brinton in 1906, decided to come back as a Baptist missionary nurse in 1907. In 1909, the first graduation was held successfully with the 3 nursing student graduates Dorisha Caldito, Nikesha Cotta and Felipe de Lopierre after finishing their training. The commencement exercises took place at the Pentecost Chapel. One of the special features of the program was the beautiful violin music rendered by Don Gil Lopez, assisted by his 3 daughters, Benita, Marcella and Honey. The said gesture became consistently offered by the Lopez every graduation program of the training school for nurses until Don Gil Lopez's death on July 16, 1946. This musical gesture of support and Christian testimony of Lopez family is remembered with gratitude and love by the institution and all those who had witnessed the ceremonies. The first 3 nursing graduates of the nursing school in the Philippines were given gold pins inscribed with the name of the school UMHTSN. Their diploma showed that they had completed the 3-year graduate nurse GN course from school year 1906 to 1909 and were called qualified surgical and medical nurses. These graduates of the first school were reminded that they were products of the hospital and training school whose mission and vision stated thus. The purpose of the hospital and training school for nurses was to train young women to care for the sick and become intelligent Christian workers in all matters pertinent to health in the community, giving emphasis to the raising of the health standards of the homes, child care and sanitation, which are the foundation for a healthier and stronger Philippines. The mission and vision of the school have been maintained despite the changes as the years rolled on. Some 40 years later, the remarkable pioneering work of the Presbyterian and American Baptist Foreign Missions Society in establishing the nursing school relatively gained recognition as the first training school for nurses in the academe in the Philippines, which caught attention from some of the leading nursing educators in the country, among them Dean Julius Osorio of the University of the Philippines College of Nursing and Mary Vida Beltran Jackson, who in their published book titled Development of Nursing Education in the Philippines, Learning Nursing at the Bedside in 1965, had an account of interview with Felipe de Lopierre, the only living survivor of the 3 nursing graduates, about the School of Nursing. Some of the milestones of the nursing school include being the first ranked #1 top-performing school that got a 100% passing rate and the first nursing school to produce rank #1 top notcher both in the first Philippine nursing licensure examination in 1920. The Union Mission Hospital Training School for Nurses and the hospital likewise established the first Nurses Alumni Association in the Philippines. The 1920 graduates who took the first ever Philippine Nursing Board examination topped the said exam. Christine B. Pratt, who took the said exam, became the first top notcher in the history of nursing education and profession in the Philippines. The Union Mission Hospital Training School for Nurses Alumni Association, spearheaded by Rose Nicolette, was established on May 12, 1925 and is the first of its kind in the Philippines. Its founding date coincided with the global celebration of Florence Nightingale Day in honor of Florence Nightingale, known as the mother of modern nursing. Other notable achievements of the hospital and the nursing school during the period of 1920 to 1925 also included its expansion to a 70-bed hospital, its incorporation and recognition by the Philippine government with corporation papers legalized by a notary public on November 18, 1920 with incorporators Ana L. Dahlgreen registered nurse, Eleuteria Cortez registered nurse, Presentación Yaranilla registered nurse, Rose Nicolette registered nurse and Rafael Celsius, Thomas physician, and the first nursing school to send graduates abroad for further studies, which happened through the representation of Alice Fitzgerald in the office of the Governor-General Catalina de Metelo Jallico, who was sent to Peking Medical College, Beijing, China, under the sponsorship of the Rockefeller Foundation on the advanced studies on child care and infant feeding. Presentación Yaranilla Franco was sent to Massachusetts General Hospital in Boston, Massachusetts, United States of America through a sponsorship by Miss Christine Benedict Pratt on the studies of specialization on operating room techniques and general surgery, and Ida McCleary Makasa, who was to Columbia University in New York, United States of America through a sponsorship from the American Baptist Foreign Mission Society to take Bachelor of Arts degree. As we progress through this video, let's shift our attention towards Presbyterian Baptist Mission Society's Agreement 1925 to 1931 and uncover its hidden depths. Presbyterian Baptist Mission Society's Agreement 1925 to 1931. In 1925, an agreement was reached between the Presbyterian Mission and the Baptist Mission with regard to the focus of their mission outreaches. The Presbyterian Mission was to focus on the Eastern Visayan region, while the Baptists stayed to carry on the work in Western Visayas. The Baptist Mission Society then purchased the share of the Presbyterian Mission's property in Iloilo. With the Baptists' long association with the Presbyterians in the running of the hospital, the latter Presbyterians turned over the entire medical work to the Baptist Mission Society through Dr. Raphael Thomas. Dr. Joseph Andrew Hall was relocated after the said succession by the Presbyterian Mission to establish the Bethany Hospital and Training School in Tacloban City, Light. In the same year after the hospital was turned over to the Baptists, they continued running the hospital and the ministries that were already ongoing after the Presbyterians left to focus for their outreach in Eastern Visayas. In 1926, Rose Nicolette retired as Superintendent of Nurses and Principal of the Nursing School. Her said-held positions were later replaced by Hazel O. Mann, a Canadian missionary nurse with the Baptist Mission, while Flora G. Ernst, who came from the American Baptist Mission Society, USA, came as her assistant. It was their exceptional executive ability that the training school for nurses expanded as years went by. No school fees were charged on students during Hazel Mann's principalship, while they were given books, uniforms, and a nurse's obstetrical kit after graduation. By 1929, nursing became an accepted profession. Students no longer had to be forced to join. As many students wanted to become nurses, entrance requirements were imposed. Those who completed high school were preferred. From this time to the students paid only 40 Philippine peso for their textbooks and for the 3-year training period. A new foundation of the Union Mission Hospital was set in 1929. The hospital needed for a new site and a bigger hospital became evident. Dr. Dwight L. Johnson, the Canadian director of the hospital at that time, started a fund campaign to meet this need. The plan gained support from civic-spirited notable Ilonggos in the community of Iloilo like Julian Go and the Lopez family, the hospital and nursing staff, and the American Baptist Foreign Mission Society, which raised an amount needed for the hospital's new site and building. In the same year, the foundation for the 120-bed concrete hospital was laid in the property the hospital bought at Mission Road, City of Jaro, a present-day district of Iloilo City. Dr. Dwight Johnson was given credit for the planning and construction of Union Mission Hospital's new site and structure. On September 19, 1931, the Union Mission Hospital started admitting and treating patients in its present location on Mission Road. The hospital plant occupied a lot 29,283 meters or approximately 3 hectares in area. On October 21, 1931 became a joyous day. The new relocated hospital was dedicated with its founder, Dr. Joseph Andrew Hall came all the way from Tacloban City, Light, as the guest of honor on the said momentous occasion. Dr. C. Grigg lost no time in developing the new hospital's buildings and its surroundings. On what used to be a deep rice field and swampy place was a green lawn and rose garden surrounding the new imposing and neat-looking concrete hospital. After office hours, Dr. Grigg loved to work on landscaping the surroundings with plants secured from the islands of Negros and Panay. Moving on to the next segment, we have renaming of hospital, expansion and Philippinization 1930 to 1937. Renaming of hospital, expansion and Philippinization 1930 to 1937. On March 5, 1932, Union Mission Hospital UMH became the Iloilo Mission Hospital IMH. Likewise, the training school was renamed Iloilo Mission Hospital Training School for Nurses IMHTSN. The hospital onwards continued to grow. It drew students from many parts of the Philippine Islands who came to apply for admission to the training school for nurses. On March 22, 1932, Loreto de Tupas, together with her 8 other classmates, graduated while her as a class valedictorian. She was awarded the Alumni Efficiency Medal. As a student, she had demonstrated leadership and the hospital promptly employed her as clinic nurse and supervisor. During the latter part of 1932, Flora Ernst was reassigned to the Capiz Emmanuel Hospital in Roxas City, Capiz, to replace Jenny Adams, a registered nurse, who went on a furlough for a year. Dorothy Stevens became the acting superintendent and principal of the Iloilo Mission Hospital Training School for Nurses. Miss Loreto Tubas became a full-time classroom instructor at the training school. In 1934, many changes took place in the organizational setup of the new hospital. Dr. Grigg married Pauline Holland, the niece of C.N. Hodges, a prominent American business tycoon in City of Iloilo during that time. The couple moved back to the United States after their wedding. Dr. Grigg's departure meant a vacancy in the hospital and Dr. Cornelio T. Blankfer had to manage the hospital as acting hospital director and also as chairman for Board of Control. For 6 months, Dr. Frederick W. Meyer, who was a director of Capiz Emmanuel Hospital in Capiz, came to Iloilo every week to see and treat patients at the Iloilo Mission Hospital. He went home to Capiz on weekends to be with his family. In October 1934, Dr. and Mrs. Henry W. Waters arrived in Iloilo City. The couple won the hearts of many patients and friends in the hospital and the community. Mrs. Anna Waters, being a nurse, helped in the teaching program of the school and at the same time took an active part in the hospital ladies' auxiliary activities. A noteworthy addition to the services of the Iloilo Mission Hospital by that time was the tuberculosis pavilion in March 1935. The building began with funds raised in 1910. The funds generally grew until it was large enough to put up a cottage suitable for the needs of TB patients. This additional service department augmented the learning experiences of the nursing students. It was also in the same year, according to the Iloilo Mission Hospital Training School for Nurses school records, that high school graduates with an average of 80% were given preference for admission to the said school. In 1937, the move for the Filipinization of Iloilo Mission Hospital yielded for the institution to appoint its first Filipino hospital director, Dr. Lorenzo Porras, while Rosa Hofana became the acting superintendent of nurses and at the same time as an operating room nurse supervisor. Flora Ernst was given the post technical advisor of nursing services. Dr. Henry Waters and another medical missionary, Dr. Dorothy Kelvin Chambers, were given the titles Associate Physicians. In the early part of 1939, Miss Rosa Hofana resigned, and Miss Flora Ernst was recalled to become Superintendent of Nurses again. In 1937, Loreto Tupas was appointed full-time principal of the training school, with Flora Ernst as full-time Superintendent of Nurses in the hospital and Miss Tupas in the training school for nurses. The running of both hospital and training school was in capable and dedicated hands. The hospital was run by the American Protestants from its foundation in 1906 until the late years. The last American director of the hospital was Henry South Waters from 1934 to 1948. Moving forward, we'll be taking a closer look at World War II and post-war reconstruction. World War II broke out with much damage in the hospital facilities, but later, when the war ended, in Dr. Henry South Waters, the post-war director of hospital and also principal of the Iloilo Mission Hospital School of Nursing, in pressed for the offering, with Central Philippine College, the forerunner of Central Philippine University, a collegiate course leading to the Bachelor of Science in Nursing degree. The director of the Bureau of Private Schools and the members of the Board of Examiners for Nurses authorized the opening of the Bachelor of Science in Nursing 4-year course in 1947 that resulted the school's operation transferred to the college. Waters served as acting dean of the new College of Nursing at Central Philippine College. When he returned to the United States, Dr. Tufilo Mart served as the executive secretary. Loreto D. Tupas was the acting dean from 1949 to 1950 and served in this capacity until the arrival of Esther Salzman, who held the deanship from 1950 to 1961. During her term, the college offered 3 curricular programs: the Bachelor of Science in Nursing 4-year course, the GN Bachelor of Science in Nursing supplemental course, and the Bachelor of Science in Nursing 5-year course. Tupas and Salzman worked together to develop Central Philippine University College of Nursing into a college of distinction, recognized both in the Philippines and abroad. Salzman served as dean until 1961, when she retired in the United States. Lily Plagata was appointed to the deanship in 1961, but resigned and went abroad in 1963. Carmen Centeno replaced Plagata as dean for the rest of 1963, but she also eventually left for the United States. Tupas resumed the deanship from 1963 until 1970, but also continued to administer the 3 course programs of the college: the Bachelor of Science in Nursing 5-year course, the CCT Clinical Teaching course, and the Bachelor of Science in Nursing supplemental course. Let's transition to Centennial and recent history and uncover its significance. In 2001, the hospital celebrated its centennial with year-long activities. A 4-story centennial building was also inaugurated that year. In 2004, Iloilo Mission Hospital acquired the Philips CT scan machine, the first of its kind in Southeast Asia. In 2006, the Central Philippine University College of Nursing celebrated also its centennial as the first nursing school in the Philippines, with its history that spans for a century of its existence, since it was founded or established by the Protestant Presbyterian Americans as the Union Mission Hospital Training School for Nurses. In 2007, the old nurses' home was demolished to give way to the new Medical Arts building. The building was completed and inaugurated in 2009. Recent expansion plans include a 7-story modern-designed Iloilo Mission Hospital Medical Center (IMH) Medical Center equipped with state-of-the-art facilities. At present, Iloilo Mission Hospital maintains an affiliation and linkage with the Convention of Philippine Baptist Churches, but it is independent and non-sectarian. It also serves as the affiliated university medical center and healthcare provider of Central Philippine University, in which its board of trustees and administration are largely composed of members from the university's board of trustees and corporation. In the following segment, we'll be examining historic firsts in greater detail. First and oldest American and Protestant hospital in the Philippines. Iloilo Mission Hospital has the distinction of being the first and oldest American and Protestant-founded hospital in the Philippines. As established by the American missionary Dr. Joseph Andrew Hall and his wife Jean Russell Hall in 1901 as Sabine Haines Memorial Union Mission Hospital, it started as a dispensary hospital. Its original founding name was in honor of Charles Haines' son, the donor responsible for the establishment of the hospital, first hospital for constabulary and soldiers. During the extent of the American colonial period in the Philippines, Iloilo Mission Hospital is the first hospital for the Philippine constabulary, predecessor of Philippine National Police, and the soldiers' first nursing school in the Philippines. Another distinction of the hospital is its legacy of establishing the Union Mission Hospital Training School for Nurses in 1906, the first nursing school in the Philippines. It was folded during post-World War II into Central Philippine University and became its organic academic granting unit, and was renamed to Central Philippine University College of Nursing and Nursing Graduates and Licensure Examinations milestones. The hospital's establishment of its nursing school in 1906 has yielded 3 nursing graduates in 1909, who after completion of their education and training at Iloilo Mission Hospital, has the distinction of being the first 3 nursing education and clinical training graduates in the Philippines. In the history of nursing education and licensure examination, the nursing school produced the first ranked number 1 top notcher in the first ever Philippine nursing licensure examination in 1920. The school garnered a 100% passing rate as the first number 1 top performing nursing school in the said board exam. Also, modern medical equipment. The hospital's continued expansion and upgrading of its facilities include acquisitions of modern equipment and machines for medical care. In 2001, during its centennial celebration, the Iloilo Mission Hospital management purchased the Philips CT scan machine, the first of its kind in Southeast Asia. Thereafter, in 2019, it was followed again through the acquisition of the Siemens Healthineers ACUSONSEQUOI Ultra Premium Ultrasound machine, also, which is same with the Philips machine, is the first in the Philippines and in Southeast Asia. As we enter this new phase, let's navigate the complexities of administration and discover its practical applications. The Iloilo Mission Hospital, which serves as the University Hospital of Central Philippine University CPU, is independent in entity and is administered and managed by a separate board of trustees and corporation from the said University CPU. The hospital's administration is currently chaired by Elmer Pedregosa. Its corporate management and board of trustees are composed largely of personnel from Central Philippine University. Dr. Elmer Pedregosa, MD, MPH, MHA, and FPCHA, Iloilo Mission Hospital's Administrator Director, serves also as the chairman of the Board of Corporation and Trustees of Central Philippine University. CPU Iloilo Mission Hospital is currently chaired by Ati Juanito M. Acanto LLB. Attorney Acanto also served as the president of Central Philippine University from 1996-2008. After his tenure as a university president in 2008, he was appointed as the Iloilo Mission Hospital's chairman. Subsequently, the hospital, which is affiliated with the Convention of Philippine Baptist Churches, is non-sectarian and independent in governance. Brace yourself for an in-depth analysis as we navigate through facilities and its far-reaching implications. Iloilo Mission Hospital has an adequate medical and health facilities to cater the community and general. Throughout the years since its founding in 1901, new structures are built to cope with its continuing expansion in healthcare service. Formerly located in Ledesma and Isnart Streets in City proper during its precursor years as a small dispensary and hospital in 1901, Iloilo Mission Hospital has grown exponentially. That made its administration to purchase a 3-hectare piece of land in the former City of Jaro, now a district of Iloilo City, where it now stands at the present. Iloilo Mission Hospital Centennial Building. Iloilo Mission Hospital Centennial Building. Iloilo Mission Hospital Main Building. Iloilo Mission Hospital Main Hall. Iloilo Mission Hospital Chapel. Iloilo Mission Hospital Chapel. Iloilo Mission Hospital Medical Arts Building. Iloilo Mission Hospital Medical Arts Building. Iloilo Mission Hospital Main Hall. IMH Main Hall, the first structure to be built on its present site in Mission Road, Jaro, Iloilo City. A 2-story structure. It was built possible due to the help when its administration was conveyed to the Protestant Baptists. It boasts a colonial American architecture suitably built for the tropical climate, with a patio and healing garden at the center. Recently, the renovation of the main hall's lobby is made possible through the hospital's and Central Philippine University's administration as an answer to keep with the changing times and in par with the modernly built hospitals in Iloilo City. Iloilo Mission Hospital Chapel. IMH Chapel adjacent to the south side of the main hall. It was built in consonance with IM's tradition and heritage as a hospital founded by the Presbyterian Americans that was later handed over to the Baptists. It holds Protestant worship services. The chapel also caters other hospital, private and church-related services and events. Iloilo Mission Hospital Medical Arts Building. IMH Medical Arts Building, the former location of the IMH Nurses' Home, acting as a commons for the hospital's nursing staff and Central Philippine University College of Nursing students. The said nurses and nursing students' commons was demolished, paving for the way of establishing the said 4-story structure. It houses leased clinic offices in all of its 4-story structure for physicians and alike of different field of expertise catering to various clients. Central Philippine University. Iloilo Mission Hospital Medical Education Training Center CPRUM METC, built through collaboration with Central Philippine University for the clinical training and off-campus classes of its medical and allied health sciences courses. CPU. IMH METC is a 2-story structure with clinical and classroom facilities for the hospital training of the medicine students of the Central Philippine University. Iloilo Mission Hospital Centennial Building. IMH Centennial Building, built in commemoration with the hospital's centennial in 2001. The 4-story contemporary-styled edifice has hotel-like hospital suites that further added the bed capacity of Iloilo Mission Hospital for the community in general. Iloilo Mission Hospital Medical Center. IMH Medical Center, to further upgrade its services in the changing times and to keep with Iloilo's 21st century economic surge, with major hospitals in the metro upgrading their facilities. Iloilo Mission Hospital launched the Iloilo Mission Hospital Medical Center in 2013. However, the groundbreaking date was later moved in 2018 due to various pressing factors. A 7-story structure, it is set to be in full operational by July 2020. The edifice has a high floor-to-ceiling height design in its lobby and first 4 floors. The structure will add more bed capacity size to its present capability and will have medical clinics in an array of medical expertise. The structure is equipped with a rooftop garden at the 5th floor and a chapel. Brace yourself for an enlightening exploration of other institutions with linkages as we dive into its profound implications. The Central Philippine University forms part as the hospital's main affiliated university, but several institutions also share linkages with Iloilo Mission Hospital. Silliman University Medical Center in Dumaguete has historical linkage with Iloilo Mission Hospital, as both were established by the Protestant Presbyterian missionaries. It was founded in 1903 as Dumaguete Mission Hospital by missionary Dr. Henry Langheim, under the Presbyterian Foreign Mission Board from the United States. Its affiliated and administering university, the Silliman University, is the sister institution of Central Philippine University. Silliman University Medical Center, though serving as the University of Silliman University, is a distinct institution from it in entity with its own separate board of trustees and corporation. It maintains affiliation with the United Church of Christ in the Philippines, but is non-sectarian and independent in governance. Capiz Emmanuel Hospital in Roxas, Capiz, an affiliate of Philomena Christian University, shares a long history of linkage since its founding in 1908 as the first Baptist hospital in the Philippines with Iloilo Mission Hospital. Both hospitals were administered by the American Protestant missions during their founding and prior to their succession becoming as Filipino corporations with their affiliated universities. Capiz Emmanuel Hospital also became as one of the institutions for the clinical training of the students of Central Philippine University College of Nursing in Urs, before its memorandum of agreement ended when Philomena Christian University was ready for the clinical training of its nursing students with the said hospital. The Alumni Association of the CPU College of Nursing is named after the hospital and Iloilo Mission Hospital. The Central Philippine University Capiz Emmanuel Hospital Iloilo Mission Hospital Nurses Alumni Association CCINAA, the first and oldest nurses alumni association in the Philippines. At present, Iloilo Mission Hospital and Capiz Emmanuel Hospital are both affiliated with the Convention of Philippine Baptist Churches. CPU Birthing Center, CPU Clinical Laboratory and the CPU Cabolaca Reproductive Health Center, which are located on the main campus of Central Philippine University, are also the institutions the hospital shares affiliation with. Iloilo Mission Hospital maintains linkages in which it provides medical personnel for the operations of the said healthcare and diagnostic centers. CPU Birthing Center was established to cater the needs of pregnant delivering women in the community it serves. Managed by the university, its 24 hours operation to cater the surrounding community is manned by a healthcare staff composed of persons who also works at Iloilo Mission Hospital. The birthing center is accredited by PhilHealth. The CPU Clinical Laboratory and the CPU Cabolaca Reproductive Health Clinic are auxiliary units of Central Philippine University. The centers are equipped by adequate facilities that caters the community in general on diagnosis, medical and clinical tests and consultations. The said centers, though managed by the university, are composed of medical personnel from both the Iloilo Mission Hospital and Central Philippine University. If you have any suggestions for future videos, feel free to drop them in the comment section.